one of the factors has been that for personal reasons, we're really not able to travel at this point, and so I decided that rather than sitting around the house, I enjoy what I'm doing, so I keep working. And I have a schedule that allows me to work a couple days a week working with students and teaching, and a couple days a week I do my hobby, which is playing music.
So, you talk about your student. So, did you have any interesting story about you and your student?
Probably not. Uh, it's, that's not something which I'm good at remembering. I work well with the students. I'm very good with students who have problems with scheduling and so forth, of working out schedules so they can get them out with a degree probably faster than anybody else can. One of the students, graduates, gave me this because I, I as I say, I try not to take presents from people, but he mailed it to me after he graduated. Uh, but he had some problems, and I worked out a way to get him out in a timely fashion. He was an international student, like you, and he couldn't stay around for another semester, and so we worked something out.
There are many international students in campus now, but is there a lot of international students in the past?
No, the international students, at least in engineering, when I came here, a lot of our students were working, and we tried to offer courses both day and the evening. One of the things which we didn't have, and I set up, was a standard program of when the courses would be available in the evening, so that students who uh, were working could plan their graduation. Uh, we don't do that anymore. There's not that much demand for the evening classes, but at that time there was. Uh, and there essentially were no international students. We didn't have the facilities for them. Until the dormitory facility went in, they really couldn't handle large numbers of students. Now, for instance, we have the ETI program. It's an English training and engineering, I think, where we have about 40 students a year that come from China. They spend their senior year with us. Their degree is from China. They get a certificate from us because we need them to be here for 2 years in order to meet our accreditation standards for our engineering program. But the program works very well. I think the students like it. We enjoy working with them. They're good students. Uh, my wife, who is a retired English teacher, loves working with the Chinese people. That's one reason why we spent so much time in China. And she comes in 1 day a week, and some of the Chinese students will come and practice their English with her. And she's had some nice uh, interactions with at least a few of them, who she's helped them enough that they've done much better on the TOEFL exam to go into graduate programs.
So, do you think like this international student, like Chinese students, bring something different to the campus?
Yes. Uh,
Can you give?
I like to see sometimes more interaction between the Americans and the international students. I think it's somewhat limited because the American students primarily live at home and come to school and then go home, whereas the international students live on campus. And we have quite a few of them, not just from China, from South America. Ecuador has a group. We've had a lot from Saudi Arabia. We had a program with India at one time, and I think we're trying to start another one. But there's not as much interaction as I'd love to see. The same sort of thing with some activities like a musical group, like an orchestra. There's just, since the students don't stay here in the evening, it's hard to put something like that together.
Can you still remember what's your first class in Purdue Calumet?
I'm not even sure what I taught the first time I was here. I know after a couple of years I took over running the senior engineering design program, and that's what I've been doing up till now, which I enjoy. It's senior engineering design is a 2-semester capstone course. Students do it in their last 2 semesters here, and it sort of brings everything together. One of the things you have to realize is that when the students are in school, most of the things they do are problems which they can solve in half an hour or so, maybe a little longer, but basically short things. They do labs which they can do in a couple of hours, and you're supposed to do it by yourself. You don't do exams and teamwork. When you go out in the job, and say you're designing a new automobile or you're designing a new hairdryer, whatever you're doing, you need multiple disciplines. If you have a hairdryer, you've got to know something about plastics and about metals and about heat transfer and about motors and electrical stuff. So they're team-based activities. And so senior design is the transition. Our students spend 2 semesters working on a single project. They work in teams of 2 to 4 students. They must do teams. I will not allow a one-person project. And the first semester, they essentially define the project. We look for projects from industry and from faculty members. Each team has an advisor. The first semester, they define the project. They do a literature search. They do a work plan that lays out how they're going to do the things to finish the project. At the end of the first semester, they have what we call a design review, where they meet with a faculty team that decides whether they know enough about the project to go ahead and finish it. Then they must pass that to go into the second semester. In the second semester, they redo their work plan because now they learn more to lay out what they're going to do. They tell us at the beginning of the semester what they're going to do to finish the project, and we give them the semester to do it. And the end of the semester concludes with a poster session where they show it to the campus, what they've done, and an oral presentation. And it's over. And it tries to duplicate what they're going to do in industry over a 2-semester time period. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. And we help them to do the transition. And the feedback we get from the students is it's beneficial to them when they go out on the job.
Okay. So what's the difference between the teaching style at now and in the past?